Welcome to ATR Powerslam, Above the Rings exclusive YouTube show, coming to you to provide all your wrestling results for the week ending in September 30th, 2023. That's right, folks. We're in October now, and we also have a 20-minute time limit. We have the host, the SLB, and Scott. I want to clarify before we even begin, No Mercy will not be covered on this episode of Powerslam. That'll be on a separate edition of Scott and Ethan's Magical World of Wonder. That's a fun name for a wrestling show, but I'm going to throw it out there. Not the name, but we'll just go right into it, kicking things off with this week's Monday Night Raw.
Yes, we got Fastlane next Saturday, so yeah, it's just there's lots of little pay-per-views going around. Obviously, tonight is AEW's Wrestle Dream as well. So Ethan and I will actually be talking about that as well. We figured you might as well cover it since it's all on the weekend. So look out for our show it'll be Tuesday morning because there's 14 matches in Wrestle Dream, and neither one of us want to record at like 1 a.m. on a Monday morning. So what? But on Raw, we kick things off with naturally more brawls because that's what we do here on Monday Night Raw. We had Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn fighting with the Judgment Day. It's just an ongoing just brawl for all, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I really I enjoy the madness that happens with this stuff. But our first official match of the night was the Big E special. It was a big meaty men slapping meat. It was Bronson Reed taking on and defeating Otis. Now, this was the pure definition of a Hoss fight. But it was nice to see Bronson Reed getting a victory, furthering his claim to wanting to be the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. After that, we had Tommaso Ciampa taking on and defeating Ludwig Kaiser, as Samantha Irvin likes to say. Of course, she does a whole lot better than I do. But Tommaso also trying to clamp his claim on being the next challenger for Gunther's Intercontinental title. So this is going to be a nice crowded bunch going into who's going to be challenging next. After that, we had a big victory by Tegan Nox, who we haven't seen on television in quite some time, over Natalya, now putting herself as the next challenger for the NXT Women's Champion. Obviously calling out Becky Lynch. Becky was telling Tegan before her match with Natalya that she was looking for her to come out. But Tegan was being too nice and said, well, Natty's the vet, let her have the shot first. And Becky's like, no. Said, you need to do this for yourself. You need to come in and you need to, have some aggression. So she did, and she kicked Natalya's butt. After that, we finally got Shinsuke Nakamura's stipulation essentially for this match that he's going to have with Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championships. And it's going to be a last man standing match. Immediately made this match more fun. I already enjoy Shinsuke versus Seth, but now it's just the extra last man standing bit. And of course, with Seth's back problems, obviously they're just leaning into it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Next match after that was for the NXT North American Championship. It was Dirty Dominic Mysterio actually by himself getting a clean victory over Dragon Lee. I couldn't believe it. This man has, I don't think, had a single clean win against anybody since he's been the champion. But it was nice to him to see, obviously, Mommy's still out nursing her injuries, and the rest of the Judgment Day boys were not there with him because obviously he's still nursing their injuries after getting beaten up in the beginning of the show. After that, we had Nia Jax come out have an interview with Zoe Stark saying, fine, yeah, you beat me up last time, but you did that behind my back. Come do it to my face. Nice to see Zoe stand up for herself. This was a lot more entertaining than I expected it to be, but Nia obviously getting the win. After that, we're getting some interesting things here with Drew McIntyre. This man teasing this heel turn, and honestly, I'm here for it. I miss the Scottish Psychopath instead of the Scottish Warrior, but Drew McIntyre was on Miz TV. Obviously, Miz doing Miz things and trying to make everything either about him or trying to stir the pot more than he normally should. This causing the New Day to come out. They had some nice puns going back and forth, talking about Drew's sword not being as erect as it should be, and it's toilet humor. It's good stuff, I guess, for Vince McMahon and all that. But it is what it is. That led to our next match, which was Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston. Again, two veterans of the ring doing their thing. But Drew does get the victory here as well. Funny thing though, with the end of this match, this was pretty back and forth, but the Viking, well, I should say one half of the Viking Raiders coming out, Ivar coming in, attacking Xavier Woods, causing the distraction for Kofi, which then he got claymored by Drew. Drew then left both the members of New Day to Ivar to destroy. That's been the big thing here, that Drew's been, that last week he left Jay high and dry when the Judgment Day were attacking him. So they're starting to think that, obviously, you know, the man's a coward, and Drew's like, no, I just don't give a shit about them. Fair enough. So our main event was yes, this was the main event. Judgment Day taking on and defeating Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to retain the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. But of course, after the match, it all dissolved into yet another brawl, with Cody showing up, Jay showing up. It's just, yeah. Raw starts with ridiculousness, ends with ridiculousness. Me speaking is apparently ridiculous right now, but that's beside the point. But we'll move on. We'll go on to the go home show for No Mercy for NXT. This was a good show. We had the finals for the Global Heritage Invitational with Butch getting a victory over Joe Coffey, and he will challenge Noam Dar for the title at No Mercy. Again, we will talk about No Mercy on a separate video with myself and Ethan. After that, we had Trick Williams getting a big victory over Joe Gacy. The schism is officially dead, because after this, Joe just had enough and he effectively threw Ava out of whatever's going on. So Joe's having a very big identity crisis at the moment. So we'll see what happens going forward with that. We had a big victory by Baron Corbin over Josh Briggs. It's nice to see Josh getting some singles runs here. I've watched him in the Indies when he was still around Massachusetts area, and this man can certainly hit. And this match just definitely proved it. But Corbin still taking the win. The End of Days is still undefeated in NXT, and I hope to God that it always stays that way. After that, we had Bronco Nima and Lucian Price, better known as OTM or Out the Mud, getting the big victory over Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. They qualified for the last seat at the table with the Dawn and Stacks, because the whole big thing here with that is that they were going to choose who's going to be the next challenger for the NXT Tag Team Championships. After that, we had a strap match, which I guess was the first time since 2020, with Eddie Thorpe getting a big victory over Dijak. The new and improved Thea Hale coming out with brand new ring gear, brand new music. Obviously, everything influenced by JC Jane. I didn't know how I felt about this in the beginning, but those two, they do real well together. Thea getting the victory over Danny Palmer, who actually will be in the new women's breakout tournament. We'll talk about that, obviously, on the No Mercy review show, because they mentioned it during the pay-per-view. And your main event ended up being a fatal four-way to determine the new number one contender for the North American Championship, obviously after Mustafa Ali was let go. This was supposed to be a triple threat at first, but after Trick got his win against Joe Gacy, he said that it's about time for him to get himself a championship shot, because Carmelo already has a title. He went into Shawn Michaels' office. Shawn Michaels said, all right, this makes a lot of sense. Tells the boys in the back, yeah, it's a fatal four-way now, and this match was ridiculous. I loved the way this worked, the way this ended. It was literally like the Big Show versus William Regal. I think, Sam, you might know what I'm talking about with the punch. I think it was that wasn't Tyler. It was I think it was Axiom. Axiom was on the floor. Trick Williams is about to hit him. Dragon Lee came out of nowhere. Dragon Lee gets thrown out to the side, out of the ring. And so does Tyler Bate. It looked like heads hit, and Trick literally just fell onto Axiom for the pin. It was just, I laughed so hard. I thought it was a fantastic way to end this match, but it was great for Trick. The way he responded after this one was great. And yeah, so he will be challenging Dirty Dom at No Mercy for the title. I blabbered for way too long now because we're getting close to time. I'll send it over to Sam so we can talk about everything else going on.
Yes, we had a pretty solid show, pretty interesting show. I believe we're going into the fifth year anniversary of Dynamite this coming week, but we kicked things off with the AEW International Champion, Rey Fenix, defending his title against Jeff Jarrett. I want to clarify, I don't know, and we might go into the detail this later, but my understanding was the whole Jon Moxley concussion issue kind of messed up a lot of things for Dynamite, so it was a little off. So we had that following. We had a little vignette between MJF and Adam Cole, and they're fishing, and then MJF went to go take the ring out, and MJF Adam, without even looking, goes like, "Did you come here to punch me with the ring because I'm friends with Roddy?" And he had this whole moment thing where he's just like, you can have more than one friend, MJF, this and that. And then they catch something on the line, and it happens to be Captain Insano himself, Paul White.
Oh my
God. Then following that, I believe we had the Don Callis family come out. Let me tell you, Don Callis is like the best, probably heel manager since Bobby Heenan. You can fight me on that one. I think he's just incredible. They came out, they spurted some stuff. They did a video. I think this was the video with Kota Ibushi where they're in Japan during a DDT Pro event, and they find Kota Ibushi and they attack him. Following that, we had a 3-way blind eliminated tournament for an international title shot. I'm looking at 2 different articles, so bear with me. So we had Nick Jackson actually defeat Brian Cage and Claudio Castagnoli. Yeah, quite the mix there. Then we had an Adam Cole and MJF promo where they kind of went back and forth a little bit. Being best buds, and all of a sudden Jay White comes out, and Jay White went to go talk, and MJF ran. This was something that actually ran for almost, I would say, 12 to 20 minutes.
Wow.
This went really long, and even as I said, with loving the three of them, like, this segment was way longer than it should have been. Following that, we had Orange Cassidy defeat I think that's Matt Jackson, Austin Gunn, and Penta. I don't think there was any stipulations here. Nope. He just beat them. Following that, we had Spooky Bitch, Julia Hart, take on defeat Willow Nightingale. And then we closed the night out with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page signing for Wrestle Dream. And then he thought the show was over. And Scott, we're going to have to talk about this once we're done recording, because all of a sudden there was in the back Jay White getting beat up by somebody in MJF's devil mask.
Ooh.
And it just ended with him facing the camera and cut to black. Yeah, it was, we got some talking about that to do after this, Scott. But it's time for my favorite part of the show, where I'm gonna rally off every single match from Ring of Honor and Impact right now. We had Josh Woods defeat Braden Irving, kicking off Ring of Honor. Scorpio Sky defeating Tony Nese. Gravity defeating Lee Johnson. Billy Starks defeating Lady Frost. Action Andretti and Darius Martin defeating the Outrunners. Layla Hirsch defeating Lonnie Luck. Shane Taylor defeating Jimmy Jacobs. The Boys in Dalton Castle defeating Trenton Tormenta, Xavier Walker, and Ren Jones. Cole Carter and Goff Garrison defeat the Infantry. Mercedes Martinez defeats Allison Kay. Gates of Agony to defeat Iron Savages. Ethan Page defeats Rahit Raju. Didn't realize he's on Ring of Honor.
All right.
And Brian Cage defeating Metal League. Hopping over to the Impact Zone, Chris Sabin defeats Alan Angles to retain the X Division title. Reiner defeats Jack Price. The Rascals defeat Joe Hendry and Yamura in a non-title match. Digital Media Champion Tommy Dreamer and Heath defeat Kenny King, Sheldon Jean in a Memphis street fight. Jonathan Gresham defeats Mike Bailey, and Knockouts Champion Trinity defeats Giselle Shaw in a non-title match. Gotta hop things back over to Scott to finish up with SmackDown.
All right, so with SmackDown, of course, more talking. This is how this works. Jimmy Uso actually is really coming to his own on the stick. He was doing good with his brother, but he's really embracing this new, I'm kind of on my own, but yet still with the bloodline thing that's going on. So him, Solo, and Paul Heyman come out to the ring, celebrating their attack last week on both John Cena and AJ Styles. This, of course, caused the only remaining healthy member of the OC, Carl Anderson, to come out and attack Jimmy and Solo and say, I told AJ to stay out of this, stay out of bloodline business, but now you've made this OC business and now it's personal. So I want one of you in this ring right now, and we're going to fight. So Jimmy ended up going into the ring. Solo told him, you finish this or I'm going to do it for you. So obviously, I like that Solo's, got a little bit of a backbone with his brothers. This works. But this was actually a fun match. It's nice to see Carl Anderson get a singles match. But Jimmy Uso does get the victory here. After that, a little funny thing happened. Michin came in afterwards, or Mia Yim, and literally just slapped the taste out of Jimmy's mouth and went to the ring to console Carl. This obviously just sent Jimmy over the edge. He just went to the back and literally just started beating up everybody. It was quite hilarious to see. We then had a moment with we had the Grayson Waller effect with Bobby Lashley, and Grayson asking Bobby what had happened with the Street Profits last week, because the Profits had lost their match. And Bobby had effectively told them afterwards, we're done here. Like, you obviously don't have the fortitude to get this done that I need. So, I don't need you guys anymore. Street Profits come out of like, really, this is how this is going to be. And Bobby's like, I don't want to hear excuses. I said, you want to prove something to me? Prove it. Do something. So we'll leave that for a little bit later on in the show. After that, we had Austin Theory getting a big victory over Cameron Grimes. We had Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar in easily the best WWE match of the night, or of the week, I would say, outside of No Mercy, because there were some bangers on that show. Rey Mysterio does retain the title, but he then, both of them then get attacked by the Street Profits. This causes Bobby to come out celebrating. He's all excited. The boys are back. Everything's good. So we even got massive boos for the Street Profits, which I don't think I've ever heard. So this was like, this is working. I like this a lot. Give me the mean streak with all three of them. This is going to be outstanding. After that, we had Charlotte Flair getting big victory over Bayley. The Damage Control attempted to attack Charlotte after the match, but she was saved by Asuka. So we'll see what happens going forward. And then after that, John Cena comes out and talks about if he wanted to hold on to the contract that was signed last week. AJ was supposed to be his tag team partner, but obviously that didn't happen because the Bloodline took him out. The Bloodline at this point ended up coming back out again to attack John Cena, and then this man was saved by L.A. Knight. Yeah, the crowd exploded. Like, this was like, you would have thought The Rock was coming out to save John Cena. It was insane. I loved it so much. LA Knight is so over. He signs the contract, so he will be tagging now with John Cena to take on Sol Sikoa and Jimmy Uso at Fastlane. So that's it for WWE stuff. I'll send it over to Sam. We'll talk Rampage, Collision, and wrap this thing up.
All right, hopping over to everyone's favorite show on Friday nights, an hour long. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed defend their trios titles against Isaiah Cassidy and the Hardys. Eddie Kingston took on defeated Rocky Romero to defend his strong openweight title. The Righteous defeated Caleb Crush and Gunnar. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And Hikaru Shida defeated Ruby Soho to become the #1 contender for the women's world title.
Nice.
Hopping back over to Collision. We had Andrade El Idolo take on defeat Juice Robinson. The Kingdom defeated the Best Friends. Julia Hart defeated Vert Vixen. I hope I said that right. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega defeat the Gates of Agony. We're going to have to watch Collision if we're going to see those two together. The Righteous, again, good thing to see these. I'm really liking what they're doing.
Me too.
Judas Icarus and Travis Williams. And then the main event, 8-man tag team match, Aussie Open. Big Bill and Ricky Starks defeated Black Bull Combat Club and FTR. Guys, that has been Powerslam. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the Above the Ring YouTube channel.